Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to be with you this evening by the magic of telecommunications as you pay tribute to two of your most famous graduates. Steve and Craig, I offer my congratulations to you, but beyond that, I offer my congratulations to those who support Servite High School and to the teachers, the faculty, all who are involved in making this such a fantastic educational institution. Education is a large part of my life now. I spent a great deal of time visiting schools, helping to raise schools. I've got 9 schools named after me that I'm very proud of. I have a school named after me in my own alma mater, the City College of New York, the Powell School of Civic and Global Leadership. And I'm very proud of that school and all the other schools. You know, as a soldier, you get lots of awards and medals, but nothing's more important than having your name put on the front of a school that will be there forever. Education is so important, especially in today's world. And what you are doing at your high school for boys and the affiliated girls' schools that you're working with is so very, very important. And what you have to keep focusing on, that what you did for Steve and Craig, you've got to do for more and more generations of youngsters. And I'm so pleased to hear that you reach out and you have a diverse student body. That is what is so necessary because our country is becoming more and more diverse. In Craig, I saw everything that you put into him. I saw what you tried to do with that very, very impressive mission statement you have where you work on the body, you work on the intellect, and you work on the will. Craig put all that together, and he entered my life when I became Secretary of State in 2001, and Craig was my executive assistant. Shortly after that, he became my executive assistant. We were through a lot together. The most memorable event, of course, will be the morning of 9/11, 2001, when I was in Lima, Peru, getting ready for a meeting of the Organization of American States. And before the meeting, I was having breakfast with the president of Peru, Mr. Toledo. And suddenly Craig came up behind me and handed me a note. And the note said that a plane had crashed into the World Trade Center. And I thought about it and said, my goodness, what's this all about, I wonder? And then we thought initially it was just a small plane. And then a few minutes later, Craig came back with another note that said a second plane had crashed and their big planes into the other World Trade Center building. And I just turned to Craig and said, get the plane ready, we have to go home. Our country's under attack. And over the next few months, and the next couple of years while Craig worked for me, he was always at my side, always giving me the best advice, always taking care of all of the needs that I had as Secretary of State, organizing a great staff in the outer office. But above all, he gave me his professional advice at all times. I could count on Craig to being straight with me, to being tough with me, telling me when I was off the ball or not on the mark. That wouldn't happen very often, but nevertheless, when it happened, Craig was there to pull me back. He spoke all those many, many languages, so that even once when a Bulgarian diplomat came in, my foreign minister colleague from Bulgaria, and he gave me a memo that I couldn't quite read because it had a Latin phrase in it. And I asked the Bulgarian minister, well, what does that Latin phrase mean? And he didn't have a clue what his own letter meant. But Craig knew. Craig could translate Latin as well as the other languages. And I presume that's part of his very, very fine education from Servite. Craig is a Foreign Service officer, a career one. He served us in many, many places throughout his career. But most importantly, during my time, he served as our ambassador to Chile. During very tricky, difficult times when we needed somebody down there who knew the language, who knew the culture, who knew how to interact with people, who not only knew foreign policy, who not only knew how to be a good ambassador and run a great embassy, but he also knew how to start a Little League team for the Chilean kids. And that bonded him with the people that he was down there to serve on behalf of the United States of America. Craig is what we call the very best in our Foreign Service. He has done so many great things in the course of his career. But for me, it was what he did with me and for me during the time that we were together in very, very challenging moments. I could always count on his reliability, his dedication. And I know that he and Kim together constituted one of our finest Foreign Service families. Families that are willing to go wherever is necessary, wherever the country needs them, they will be there. So you all should be very, very proud this evening at what you produced in Craig and of course in Steve. But remember, it takes money, it takes resources, it takes time, talent, and treasure to keep a place like this going. And so I encourage you in the course of the evening to think through what you have accomplished over the years with this marvelous school and what you can do in the future to serve an even broader community. And I hope that will cause you to touch your hearts and think deeply again about what you can do to provide the resources needed by this school. And so Craig, Steve, and all assembled, thank you for what you're doing, not only to educate Steve and Craig, but what you're doing to educate the next generation of America's leaders.